Today we're going to be taking a look at an additional feature of Colab and how it can help us while we're looking at our data files and also our variables within the code while it's running live. So we've previously looked at two of these icons over on the left hand side, the table of the contents and also the files, which again, very useful for looking at the files that we're using locally in the Colab environment, as well as the organization of our file. So for instance, if we're going to be looking at this section about splitting strings, we can just use the table of contents, move down to that section, and then the code and the explanation going along with that are handy and they're brought up on the screen for us. Likewise, if we have run some code and it's created files for us to use in our demonstrations, then we can look at those. So for instance, here's one called bobs.txt. And sure enough, over on the right hand side, then we can see the contents of that file. So it's got 5 lines of actual information and it looks like a spare /n or new line character got written to the file as well. Okay, so our new piece that's going to be useful today is looking at the state of variables, which is designated by the curly braces and the X, so the unknown. And when we're running code, then we're able to see the status of things directly as it's happening. So I'm going to get rid of Bob's Burgers, the text file, for a second so we can see the file. And I'm going to run this code here so we can actually see the contents of those variables. So interestingly enough, here initially when we read in the information from the file, we stored it in a variable called data, and all information being read in from a file is going to be string data. So sure enough, we see that, and the /n's are part of the file. So even though when we looked at the bobs.txt file, it looked like just Bob's Burgers and then 5 of them, the /n is actually part of the file. So if we're trying to use that information that's in the file and we don't want it to have the /n's anymore, a really common thing to do is read data from a file and then bring it into a list. So we can see that's exactly what's happened here. A new variable, list from data, has been created. It is happily of type list, and it has 5 items. So I'll kind of show you where that code is, and it's all this one item here that takes care of that for us. All right, so just another useful aspect of Colab, in addition to the table of contents and the files that we can take a look at directly while we're in Colab. We can also, when we're running code, take a look at the status of variables, which gives their name, the kind of variable or the data that they're holding, and then the shape. So in this case, the details about the thing. So for data, it's got 70 characters within the string, and for list from data, it contains 5 items within its list.